On the high plains of Bolivia, where the wind cuts sharp and thin through the Andean air, there is a place that defies reason. A place where stone is not simply stacked, but sculpted with the kind of precision we usually reserve for modern machine tools. Here, at nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, rests Puma Punku, the door of the Puma, a sprawling ruin so mysterious, so exquisitely engineered, that even in the 21st century, it laughs quietly at our certainty of history. Imagine walking into an open field, the horizon bending into sky, and there before you lies a scattering of megalithic blocks, some the size of small trucks, others bigger than railway cars. Yet they're cut and fitted so perfectly that a razor blade could not slide between them. You run your fingers over their surfaces, feeling edges as sharp as a kitchen knife, angles precise as if dictated by a CAD program, and holes drilled straight and smooth through solid andesite. This is not the crumbling chaos of ancient ruins. This is order frozen in stone. The first time I saw Puma Punku in photographs, I thought they must have been edited, exaggerated, a trick of light and framing. But the more I read, the more I realized this was not exaggeration. This place is real. And what makes it so haunting is not just the craftsmanship, but the questions it raises. How was this done? By whom? And when? The answers we have don't seem to fit the stones we see. Puma Punku is part of a larger archaeological complex near Tiwanaku, a site considered sacred by the people who live here. Archaeologists tell us the Tiwanaku civilization thrived in this region around 500 to 1000 AD, long before the Inca Empire rose to power. The Tiwanaku were skilled farmers, builders, and traders, their influence spreading far across the Andes. But Puma Punku is different. It's as if someone came here with knowledge and tools far beyond their time, and then, mysteriously, left. As you step among the ruins, the ground crunching under your boots, your eyes catch the famous H-shaped blocks, hundreds of them, each exactly like the next, their angles cut to perfect 90 degrees, their surfaces flat, their recesses and grooves identical from one stone to another. These were not roughly chipped with stone hammers. These were engineered. Modern stonemasons have tried to replicate the cuts using hand tools, and it's possible, but slow, painfully slow. And here, there are not a dozen such stones, but hundreds, scattered across the site like pieces of some ancient cosmic Lego set. Then there are the massive red sandstone slabs, some weighing more than 130 tons, dragged here from quarries miles away. The andesite blocks, harder than granite, were brought from even farther, across the lake, from the Copacabana Peninsula. How were these moved? No wheels, no draft animals large enough to carry them. Even the Inca, centuries later, left no clear method. And yet here they are, as if they simply appeared. Standing in the middle of Puma Punku, you can feel a strange dissonance, a push and pull between the explanations we've been given and the evidence right in front of our eyes. Mainstream archaeologists say the Tiwanaku people, through extraordinary skill and communal labor, built this place with stone tools and simple copper chisels. But the sharpness of the edges, the perfection of the right angles, the deep, narrow drill holes, these things seem to whisper a different story. This is where the mystery deepens. Some researchers, and plenty of fringe theorists, have suggested that Puma Punku's stonework hints at lost technology. Not lasers and alien spaceships, necessarily, but something more advanced than stone hammers and brute force. Could it have been an ancient form of casting stone? Could they have somehow softened the rock with plant-based chemicals, a technique hinted at in some South American legends? Or was this the work of an even older civilization, one erased by time, whose knowledge was lost before the Tiwanaku ever arrived? You bend down to look closer at one of the blocks, your hand tracing the surface. The andesite feels cold, almost metallic in its smoothness. There are drill holes, perfect, cylindrical, as if made by a diamond-tipped bit spinning at high speed. Modern geologists have studied these holes and found spiral tool marks along the sides, much like what you'd see from a modern drill. How is this possible? If the Tiwanaku had such tools, where are they? Why are there no remnants, no workshops, no smaller experimental pieces where techniques were tested? And then there's the alignment. Many of Puma Punku's structures appear to have been oriented with astronomical precision, marking solstices and equinoxes. This is a pattern we see at other ancient sites: Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, the Great Pyramids, a marriage of engineering and celestial observation. But why? Was this simply a ceremonial center, a place to honor gods and track the heavens? Or was there a more practical, perhaps more urgent reason to align with the stars? Some indigenous oral traditions speak of a time when the gods descended from the sky and taught their ancestors how to work the stone, how to shape the land. Others tell of a great flood that destroyed an earlier world, leaving only scattered survivors to rebuild. It's easy to dismiss these as myth, and yet when you're standing here, staring at the razor-cut edges of a block that weighs more than a locomotive, you find yourself wondering, could there be fragments of truth in those stories? Over the last century, Puma Punku has drawn all kinds of explorers, from serious archaeologists and geologists to treasure hunters, spiritual seekers, and ancient astronaut theorists. Some have claimed it was a landing pad for alien spacecraft. Others think it was a manufacturing center for an ancient high-tech society. Still others believe it was a kind of energy hub, harnessing properties of the Earth we no longer understand. None of these theories have been proven, but each in its own way reflects the awe this place inspires. When you stand on the site at dawn, the light creeping over the distant peaks of the Cordillera Real, the stones begin to glow: red, gold, silver. The air is so clear you can see for miles in every direction. You realize that whoever built Puma Punku chose this spot deliberately. Was it for the view? For proximity to water? Or was there something in the land itself, some energetic quality that made this place sacred? Of course, the skeptic in you pushes back. Precision cuts can be achieved with patience and skill. Stones can be moved with enough people, ropes, and ingenuity. The ancients were not stupid. They were masters of their own technologies. And yet, the sheer scale, the sheer perfection of Puma Punku stones, they still leave room for wonder. It's not that it couldn't be done with primitive tools. It's that doing it that way would require a level of coordination, resource, and sustained effort that boggles the mind. As you walk away from the ruins, the wind kicking up dust around your boots, you can't shake the feeling that Puma Punku is a puzzle, one whose missing pieces may never be found. Maybe that's the real gift of places like this. They remind us that history is not a straight line from ignorance to enlightenment, but a landscape of peaks and valleys, where knowledge is gained, lost, and sometimes buried beneath centuries of soil. We like to think we know the story of humanity, where we came from, what we've achieved. But here, in the shadow of the Andes, the stones seem to be saying, "You've forgotten something." And maybe that's why Puma Punku matters so much. It's not just a ruin, it's a mirror held up to our curiosity, challenging us to look closer, to think deeper, to question what we think we know. Because in the end, whether it was built by the Tiwanaku with incredible skill, by some lost civilization, or by hands we can't even imagine, the truth is still waiting here in the cold wind and ancient stone. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of Earth's most enduring mysteries. Now I'd like to hear from you. What do you think Puma Punku really is? A marvel of human ingenuity, or evidence of something far older and stranger? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please like, comment, and share. It truly helps keep these stories alive.